a fantastic Monday. It's hard to believe we don't go off of this way, but no birthdays to celebrate again this week, 2 weeks in a row. I guess it's just what the popular time of the year to have babies, apparently. But we do have two great anniversaries to celebrate. Archie Solomon and Tracy, August the 11th. I think he just got back into town. They celebrated their honeymoon, I think, over in California. We'll have to hear about that later on, maybe. Jason Rudd and Amanda on August the 15th. Hope everybody has a fantastic week.
Introduce the guest visiting period, so we may have this together. Birthdays.
I believe we have more guests than members today. This may take a while. I'll call your name. Please stand your name standing. We have David Money, guest of David Hanks. Jeff Atkinson, guest of Jerry Atkinson. Forgive me if I pronounce this incorrectly, but Jordan Dufensis, member of the club, or guest of the club, and Tommy Emmett, guest of the club. Emily Brunson, guest of Stephanie Crow. Greg Holland, guest of Alan Richards. Steve Good, guest of Cameron Good. Peggy Goodman, guest of Mike Goodman. Patricia Devane, guest of Alex Reynolds. On to the back. Molly Bracewell, guest of Alex Reynolds. Tim Goodwin, guest of Dale Goodwin. Hannah Chapman, guest of Josh Chapman. Mark Scherzer, guest of Greg Gregory. Keith Bozier, guest of the club, Rotaract Club, excuse me. Madison Stallworth, guest of the Rotaract Club. Bruce Scarborough, guest of Keith McAnulty. David Saliba, guest of Matt Langford. Marie and Jimmy Evans, guest of the club. Scott Markham, guest of Art Morris. Kendall Johnson, guest of Lawrence Johnson. Lance Griffin, guest of the club. Alex Blankenship, guest of Doug Blankenship. Watson Downs, guest of John Watson. And then we have some visiting Rotarians. And before I go on to them, I've been reminded, did I miss anybody? Chances are I did. So if you're a guest, I did not call your name, please feel free to stand and tell us who you are. Looks like we got everybody. Great. So visiting Rotarians, we have Blake Seymour, who's from our Tuesday club. Steve Thompson. Ron Watson. And Dave Stock. Thank you for visiting.
Camp Aston, Scott Childers. Today we have 287 points.
Start back over.
Last four numbers: 1767. 1767.
Yeah.
Two players.
Oh.
Next time. Just want to take a moment to give us our Rotary Minute for the week. I'd like to speak on the Dothan Rotary Club. Those of us who may not be terribly familiar with the club would like a little bit of resources. You know, Rotary was founded in 1916 And somewhere between that time and 1918, a group of citizens here in Dothan decided Dothan needed a Rotary Club. Well, at that time, Dothan was not being quite ready or a viable city enough to support a Rotary Club, or so Rotary thought. And so Rotary was already in Dothan, whether Rotary International knew it or not. We were meeting as what was designated as the outlaw clubs. We were not chartered by Rotary International yet. Now, that Rotary Club is actually still in existence here today. It is our satellite club, which is being led by Will Goldstein. A very active satellite club for us here. Now, we'll not go through the whole history, but just so that you may be aware, in 1923, the Crippled Children's Committee actually was formed, which actually grew into the Crippled Children's Hospital and Sport Group, which I believe now is actually WRC. It's been changed into Wiregrass Rehabilitation Center, which is where we're meeting now. And Rotary actually owns this facility. If you were not aware of that, which is fantastic. I will not continue on through just all the history up to this day, but just give you an idea. That's the basis of what Rotary started here in the Dothan area, and what we, by all means, intend to continue as far as our community service. Now, if I could have Margaret Futch come forward for a moment. Margaret, in June, you won the Camp Astor Draw. This is your award. And it reads, well, it's a nice blue Rotary mug, Margaret Futch, Camp Astor winner, June 2025. And this certainly goes to Margaret, and the bottom has service above self. Thank you, Margaret. Please come forward.
What a beautiful day. Nobody agrees with me? Okay. All right, I'm here today to honor someone, along with the club, but I want to read you a definition of this, of what these people are that we have within our club. An unsung hero refers to someone who performs great deeds or makes significant contributions, but doesn't receive the recognition or praise they deserve. They're often ordinary people doing extraordinary things without seeking public acknowledgement. I'm glad to be here today to honor one of our unsung heroes of our club. This member has been a member for nearly 13 years, and half of that time has served as our club secretary. If I remember, she served her first term was whenever I was president that year. I may be wrong about that, but it's close in that part anyhow. So anyhow, a few months ago, a few people were talking about something, how to honor this person, because how much outside, behind the scenes, you don't realize what this person does, this member does. So a few people got together, and before long, it was a lot of people. And after supper, it was kind of discussed that possibly another Paul Harris fellow to this member. And kind of a cast of the net went out and came back in, and that was such a great response because people recognized the work being done by our club secretary. During the same time, I realized through her own giving to Rotary International, it's time for her to receive also her personal Paul Harris Plus Award. But such generosity was given from members of the club that recognize all the work that she does. And I'd like Jenny Logan to come down this time, and she's going to be honored with a +1 that she's earned, plus through the generosity of club members, a +2 and a +3.
presentation of the Paul Harris Fellow Recognition is the Rotary Foundation's way of expressing its appreciation for substantial contribution to its humanitarian and educational programs. It is named for our founder, Paul Harris, a Chicago lawyer who started Rotary International with 3 business associates, really in 1905. We moved closer to a world of peace and goodwill as Jenny Logan becomes Paul Harris Fellow +3. Her gift to Rotary Foundation's educational and humanitarian programs is a commitment to a better life for people across the world whom she may have never met. This is truly a selfless action. Jenny, it's because of gifts like yours that Rotary Foundation is able to carry out an array of programs that achieve beneficial changes in our world, improve living conditions, increase food production, better education, wider availability of treatment and rehabilitation for the sick and disabled, new channels for the flow of international understanding, and broader hopes for peace. It is becoming a Paul Harris Fellow. Jenny Logan joins this remarkable company of persons throughout the world. We all recognized for their devotion to the ideal of goodwill, peace, and understanding. It is the goal of Rotarians the world over, and one that Jenny clearly shares, and we appreciate you. It gives me great pleasure, Jenny, to present you with the Paul Harris +2. We congratulate you on your commitment to the Rotary Foundation programs. Jenny, thank you so much. Thank you, Jenny. It's my pleasure to turn the program over to Mr. John Watson, Coach Tommy Tubberville, and Ron Watson.
As a Rotarian, I'm in the Tuesday Club. It's an honor for me to introduce Senator Tommy Tubberville, Coach Tubberville. When we first met, look, we talked about this second day he was on the job at Auburn. We were building a facility
46 years ago.
That's right. And Coach, I was telling you, there was a lot of guys working the other day. We had Rich Mason and all that there. And the way you treated them the other day made a lot of Auburn fans that day. I'd say you earned a lot of my respect that day for those guys. The way that you handled them was really nice. It really was personal to that. Lots of and then I guess we met again a few years later at a summer league basketball game. One of my players knocked his front teeth out in a basketball game or something. I hated that. I hope those are grown back nice now. One way or another, I'm sure. But anyway, Tommy Tubberville was born in Camden, Arkansas. He's the youngest of 3 children. His dad, Charles, was a recipient of the Purple Heart Award from World War II. He was a good athlete in high school. He went to play for the Mule Riders at Southern State College, which is now Southern Arkansas. And he started his coaching career at Hermitage High School. I was asking this, he had a record of 9 and 10. Then the next year he gets a job at Arkansas State. So you go 9 and 10, and then they hire you at Arkansas State. I'm gonna try to get a job with the Hawks. As an assistant coach at Arkansas State, and then he went to be an assistant coach at Miami, where he won 3 national championships. Eventually became defensive coordinator. And after that, he left to go coach under the great coach R.C. Slocum at Texas A&M. And then got a head coaching job in Mississippi in 1995. In 1997, he was SEC Coach of the Year at Mississippi. 1998, he became head coach at Auburn, led Auburn to 8 bowls. In 2004, went 13-0, was the National Coach of the Year, AP. He had success at after Auburn at Texas Tech and also at Cincinnati. He retired as one of the top 50th all-time winningest coaches in NCAA football. In 2020, he was elected as senator of the state of Alabama, U.S. senator. Went along with the American First Movement and Trump's agenda. He serves on Senate committees, Armed Services, Health, Veterans Affairs, Agriculture and Nutrition, and Forestry, among others. He and his wife Suzanne had 2 sons, Tucker and Troy. Please help me introduce Senator Tommy Tubberville.
Thank you. Good to be here. Good to be here. I want the sheriff to be able to hear me. Hear me, Sheriff? Good. A lot of friends in here. Thanks for coming. This is a great turnout. John and Ron have been good friends. As I said, 26 years ago, I walked in my office for the first time in Auburn, and I got 2 rednecks standing out on my porch. I thought they were trying to break in. It was these 2. And so I met them for the first time I saw my office there, but had a great friendship ever since, and very proud to have known especially John and Ron for years, and what they've done. Ron being a coach, and of course John being a big developer around here. I'm gonna let you ask questions more than I'm gonna talk. So think about your questions as we go along here. It's great to be here. One of the most growing parts of the state. People, it's kind of a diamond in the rough down here. People don't realize how you're growing here. You're growing leaps and bounds, and it's getting bigger and bigger. Of course, you got Fort Rucker over here that helps a little bit. You got a lot of federal money coming in. We have been fortunate to be able to bring money into Fort Rucker. We got to know a lot of people in politics in this area, and we were able to help law enforcement with the public safety building out here in terms of we've got money for a huge auditorium that hopefully they can build in the near future. But I'm glad to have been your senator for the last 5 years, going on 4.5, going on 5 years. I got another 1.5 years left. I can't say it's been a lot of fun at times. My first day up there was January the 6th, 2021, when all hell broke loose. I'm thinking, man, what have I walked into? But it's been good. We still got a long way to go. We live in the greatest country on the face of the earth. We live in a great state. We live in a great place to raise a family, educate kids, and do all those things. But folks, we're still in trouble. This country is in bad trouble because we've had politicians that have spent money like you've never seen, $37 trillion. And I say spend money, a lot of it they've stolen, because it is a crime capital of the world, Washington, D.C. It is just amazing what goes on up there. It's starting to pan out a little bit with President Trump coming in and basically having Doge go through everything, firing people that's been up there forever, not doing the right thing. Hey, this is not Republican, Democrat. This is America. And this is about our country and about turning our country over to our kids and grandkids for years to come. This is 200 and almost 50 years. Our birthday will be next year, July the 4th. And my God, we tried to, a lot of people have tried to destroy it and bring it and make it something else. We are not a socialist country. We're not a communist country. We're a constitutional republic that is run by the people of this country, not by politicians, but by the people of this country. And we need to understand that. And we can't allow government, big government, to take our country and flush it down the toilet bowl. And that's what they're trying to do with all the Russiagate, COVID, eggs for brains Biden, who never one time made a decision up there. People made a decision for him. And we all knew it. That's a problem. The legacy media wouldn't tell you that. But all the things that have gone on up there, we have a strong country, very strong country. We're not going to turn it over to the climate scam people. We're not going to turn it over to the people that want to tear this country down and make it into something that it's never been and never will be. We want to pass it to our kids and grandkids, as I said, to have the life that most of us have lived in. Just think about the last 60 years since World War II, the growth and the things that have gone on here, the great things that have happened, the great people that have gone through our country that have made it better and better. but we're not going on our watch to turn it over. And that's the reason I ran for the Senate job, and that's the reason I've been fighting ever since I've been there. Most of you probably know I speak common sense. I mean, and I'll tell you the truth. I didn't go up there to stay forever. And obviously, you know that now I'm coming back and I'm going to be the governor of the state of Alabama. But I'm doing that for a reason. Because President Trump even says I'm sending the money and the power back to the states. Folks, we're in a battle in every state of the country now. And the reason I'm running for governor is because we've got, kind of like the SEC, we've got Georgia on one side, Tennessee at the top of us, Mississippi on our left, and Florida at the bottom of the state of Alabama. And manufacturing's coming back to the country. President Trump he's got the tariffs going in the right direction. Growth is going to happen in this country. It's the only way we can pay down this $37 trillion in debt. We're going to have there's not a week goes by I don't have manufacturing come to my office in DC. Coach, we want to move manufacturing to Alabama. What have you got? How can you help us? And we have a great place to do that. And so this state is going to grow. I want to be a part of it. I want to help this state grow. And we're going to have a game plan when we become governor and take over that office. And I'm not running to be governor, I promise you that. I could be doing something else. But I see the light at the end of the tunnel and what we can do here to make it better. We're not going to allow Tennessee, Georgia, Mississippi, and Georgia outrun us. So it's time to start recruiting and get people to come. Y'all have a great place here in the Wiregrass and the Dothan area to move manufacturing. Great place. And so that's what we're going to do. This is going to be one of the spots that we're going to look at hard to make sure the growth happens here. Now, we've got to do infrastructure here. We've got to do roads. We got to have a better road system, because that's the one thing that goes along with growth in your city or in your county or in your region is transportation when it comes to manufacturing. And so we're going to work a lot on that the next year and a half that we'll remain in the Senate. And so we're excited about that. President Trump's on the warpath. If you didn't know that, if you've been blind and deaf, I mean, he is taking the bull by the horns, and he will tell you straight up, we're real close to losing this country, but not just this country, the world. The world is on fire, and he put out there America first, and he's trying to take care of America first. And he's dealing with Putin, he's dealing with Iran, he's dealing with Israel, he's dealing with Ukraine, and turn around and look at all the things we got going on in this country that he's got to try to make better. Law enforcement, I tell people this, you know, we got a lot of problems, education, our debt and all that. I don't care how rich you are, how great your family is, how educated you are. If you don't have safe streets and neighborhoods, you don't have anything. You don't have it. And we've got to take back our country when it comes to our streets and neighborhoods. You live in a bubble here. Go live in Washington, D.C. for a while and tell me how many gunshots you hear during the day. Our nation's capital. And today, thank God for President Trump said, I'm bringing National Guard to Washington, D.C. We're taking back our capital. Thank God he's doing that. It is unbelievable. We've got have 100 people that's killed already the first 6 months in Washington, D.C. It's a war zone. And you got 12 to 15-year-old kids running the streets, driving motorcycles and three-wheelers the wrong way down the road, running stop signs, red lights, circling your car, harassing people. We had a 21-year-old intern got killed a few weeks ago, got shot in the head right outside the White House, that works in the same office building that my staff works in. We've got to take it back over. Crime is not going to ruin this country. And President Trump is adamant about that. And I appreciate the sheriff being here, and I do appreciate all law enforcement. I really do. I'm on the Armed Services Committee, and obviously, you know, Fort Rucker is huge. It's huge for the military. But I'm on the personnel, I'm the chairman of the Personnel Committee on Armed Services. We have to get our military back. It became woke under the Biden administration. All this DEI, transgender nonsense in our military has to go. And thank goodness for Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense. He's straightening it out. It's hard. We've got our recruiting up about 25%. Kids didn't want to get in it. You get out of high school, they didn't want to get involved in the military. And why would they? I mean, because it is absolutely, they had lost their mind. But We're getting control of that again, so getting control of the military, getting control of our law enforcement, taking our streets back, making this country safe. The border was an absolute disaster. I went down there several times, and 5, 6, 7,000 people a day just walk across the border. You know, we pay for their ways. You know, we're finding out now that USA, nothing but a money scheme to go down to Latin Central America, helping people come up to the United States of America. Listen, we love immigrants, but we're all from immigrants in one time or another. Legal immigration. We have to have that. We have to have more people coming here. We have to have a good visa system, but we cannot allow people to come here that's costing us $50,000, $60,000 each a year because you can't afford it. So there's a lot of things that went on the Biden administration. We're finding out how crooked it was. It's more and more crooked every day that we find out what they were doing behind the scenes, but we're catching it. We're catching up with that. We're straightening it out. Again, President Trump is on top of it. This guy is unbelievable. He works 17, 18, 19 hours a day, very seldom sleeps, and he takes it personal for what's going on. And hopefully we can get a lot of that corrected as we go. Before I ask you to ask questions, agriculture. It was great coming down here today to see the crops that our farmers have grown, getting almost close to harvest season. Being on the ag committee and the big beautiful bill that we just passed, we got better pricing for a lot of the crops. That's going to help our farmers survive, because the Biden administration basically wanted to do away with food in this country because it was a climate problem. These people, you can't make it up what they were trying to pull on our farmers. All the things that they ran the price up on, fertilized seed, $5 for a gallon of diesel, a cotton picker that 10 years ago was $600,000, now it's 1.2 to 3 million. They can't make it. We have to save our farmers, and we got a good start. But I tell you what, a lot of them are still having a lot of problems paying off their farm loans. We have to make sure that they make it, because we don't want to look around like we did in COVID, going, we don't make drugs anymore. It's all made in China. We're going to do the same thing with food if we don't watch it. Same thing's going to happen. It's all going to be overseas, and we're going to be held accountable to Spain, a lot of these other countries that make food, Vietnam, Cambodia, and heaven forbid, we're having to eat a lot of things that they make and grow, because you don't know what happens to them. You don't know how they grow it, and how they process and all those things. So just let you know, the farmers are in trouble, but we got to save them. You know, the group of farmers right now in this country, it's the biggest, unfortunately, the biggest group that's committing more suicides than anybody. Yeah, our farmers are committing suicide. They can't pay their bills. And I hate it. But again, you all go back and look at what happened in the last 5, 6 years. It's been a disaster for what happened with farmers. So we need to be able to help them, to get them through this very, very tough time. And hopefully the harvest season is good. Hoping the rains hold off and the prices are up there where they can make a profit, pay some of these loans down, and get back to a normal life. So one other thing I'll talk about, healthcare real quick. Healthcare is a huge part of what we do in DC. I'm on the Committee of Health with Robert Kennedy. And the big beautiful bill that we just passed is really going to help areas like Dothan, Enterprise. A lot of the rural hospitals that we have in this state are suffering. We're going to be able to get $200 million a year for the next 3 or 4 years to be able to help those rural hospitals. We got to save it. We got to save our rural hospitals, because we cannot just lean on the big hospitals in this state. We need rural health care. VA is the same thing. Our veterans are struggling, and we need to be able to help them also. So a lot of good things. We got the big, beautiful bill passed with all the tax cuts in it, bonus depreciation, which you can buy equipment now for your company, and you can write it off 100%. A lot of real good things. You know, 150 billion for the military, 125 billion for the border, making sure that we only have Americans in this country. And we got a great start for the first 6 months. You can go through President Trump's list of the wins that he has, and all you got to do is listen to the Democrats. They'll cry all the way every day to if you even start talking about the wins that they've had, that President Trump's had. But we're coming up for another election next year, and they're firing at us right and left, trying to say that we're ruining the country. But we're trying to save the country because of what they've done for the last few years. So I got John first. John, stand up. John, everybody knows John. Y'all give John a hand. Let's say. And he's my representative down here, been a good friend for a long time, and was on the city commission, and gave up his spot, and I think I'm working him too hard. You don't look like you're losing any meals though. All right, question. Ask any question. Yes, sir.
In regard to federal budget,
Right.
and I know the big beautiful bill, there was objection to some of it because of the money that was involved, and it seems that Trump's strategy, and obviously I guess the strategy of the Republicans in Congress is go ahead and pass it, and then try to get rid of some of the spending through rescission bills.
Right.
And I know that I guess Trump sent at least one rescission bill back to Congress. Is that correct? And do you expect more coming, and that we'll be able to?
You're not gonna be able to get passed. He's talking about cutting. I mean, we got to cut our spending. Okay. Y'all send up close to $5 trillion a year in federal money. Okay, we spend about $7 trillion. My math ain't real good. That doesn't equal out. Okay, and we've got to cut that out. The problem is you're not going to pay off your spending through cuts. Okay, now we can do some of it. The only way we're ever going to be able to pay this debt down is to grow the country, is get more manufacturing here, more people to work, better jobs, which we're going to do when I become governor. We're going to have a huge workforce development plan to keep our kids, educate our kids, to keep our kids in the state, to get them real good jobs. But we have to grow the country. The tariffs are going to help pay this down. You couldn't tax all of us for 20, 30, 40, 50 years and never pay this debt down for taxes, or even really cut it. But we need to cut back on spending. I want you to think about this. We had one bill that we said, okay, we're going to cut out $9 billion. It's one bill. It took us a month. And then once we took it to the floor, we stayed on the floor for 14 hours, even get the Republicans to vote for it. So you're not going to be able to cut back on spending with a rescission bill. The only way we can do this is to put more people to work. I want you to think about this. In our state of Alabama, which we have 5.5 million people, we have 500,000 people that make $27,000 or less. Think about that. 500,000 people in the state of Alabama alone make $27,000. Now, a lot of that is by design, because they don't want to do a lot. That's going to have to change. We have 1.5 million people that's not working. 1.5 million in the state of Alabama, of a little over 5 million people. That's got to change. Now, how do you do that? Well, it starts with education. We didn't do a very good job of making a plan after COVID. A lot of our kids can't read because they weren't in school, can't read and write. A lot of the states took a lot of their teachers and pushed them down to kindergarten, first, second, third, and all they did was teach them to read and write. The hell with everything else. If you can't read and write, you can't learn. A lot of states did that. You know who did it? Who was number 50th in the country was Mississippi. They're 21st now. 21st. You got to have a plan. And again, I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm a damn football coach, but I can figure it out. Okay, of how you do things, how you make things better, and it's by design and by planning and by putting the people in the right spots. And Mississippi did that. They call it the Mississippi Magic or something like that. And it's amazing of what they did. So what I'm saying at the end of the day, more people have to go back to work. We got to get people off food stamps. In this state, in 2 years, when I take office, we're going to be $280 million short on SNAP because of what we just passed, because we had to cut federal spending in this big, beautiful bill. Now, we can rectify that by cleaning up the rolls of people that are getting that SNAP and making sure that they're qualified and that they got a chance to work, they go back to work. And that's what we're going to have to do. They call it the error rate, and we're like 7.5%. We got to get it down to 5%. And so there's a lot of things that we can do, but we have to have a plan to get that done. But again, having 1.5 million people out of work, things got to change. I mean, there ain't no free lunches in this country anymore. We are broke. We got to go back to work, and we got to go back to work for the right reasons. But going back to what I said earlier, we're going to build some things across the state once I become governor of workforce development that's going to connect with our K through 12 schools, our public schools. We have not changed the direction of our school systems in years, in 60, 70 years. Why do we have K through 12? Why don't, after the 10th grade, which pretty much they've learned everything they're going to learn anyway, start doing workforce development in the high school and in areas around that high school, which coincide with their graduation after 12 years. We don't need all these kids going to 4-year universities. That's a social event. If you want to go, fine. But we have kids that get degrees in sociology. Hell, they can't get a job at Walmart. And they spend $150,000, $200,000. $150,000, $200,000, and they're in debt. Let me give you another stat. Obamacare started in 2012. How are we going to pay for that? Some of you might remember this. 2012, the Obama administration, we're going to pay for it through student loans. We're going to start loaning money to kids across the country to go to college, and they're going to pay that money back on 7% interest. We're going to pay for Obamacare. Didn't work. Didn't work at all. Now COVID hits. 5 years, they didn't pay anything on their interest. Folks, today, I want you to listen to me. Today, we have 45 million kids in this country that owe $2 trillion. Yeah, 45 million. I mean, that's what, 20% of the country. And why? Is we took it away from the banks and we gave it to the federal government. The federal government can't do anything right. If you hear that we're starting a new agency in the federal government, you go, man, they have lost their damn mind. Because we don't do anything right. We need to be cutting agencies and send it back to the state. I'm for getting rid of TSA and let privatize every bit of that. When you go to the airport, I prompt government, I mean, they're all sitting around not doing anything. Give it to a private group and let them run it. I promise you, they're going to make money out of it. Plus, they're going to take the government out of it. And there's a lot of those agencies that can do that. So how are we going to pay our federal debt? We got to grow the country. And the only way we can do that is get manufacturing to come back. And if they're not coming back, we tear up the heck out of them. And President Trump has done a great job. Scott Bessent, the Secretary of Treasury, actually the one doing it. President Trump's the head coach, so we'll give him credit for it. Next question. Yes, sir.
For the past 15 years, I've been paying 85% every year on my Social Security. And President Trump said no taxes on Social Security, but the bill y'all passed still has taxes on Social Security. Any chance you give any of that taken back?
Yeah. The only way it's taxed is if you still got a job. And if you're retired and the only thing you're doing is collecting Social Security, you ain't gonna be taxed. That's the way it's supposed to work. That's the only way we could pull it off, getting some of these rhinos that they call themselves Republicans that are actually Democrats to vote for it. But I'm totally against Social Security being taxed. Now, you know who changed that in 1983? Joe Biden when he was senator. Yeah, he changed that. And, you know, Social Security is a scam, folks. It's a scam, okay? They took all of our money that we've all paid, 7-8%, I don't know what the rate is now. It's just done another tax. And they've spent every dime of it. Ain't no money left. I mean, we're taking it from our kids that are paying it now and paying people that are retired. We got about 5-6 more years and it's over with. So we got to find a way to make this work. If we would have invested our money 30 years ago, they invested in treasury bonds, okay? What is that? Treasury bonds is invested in our country. We should have put it in a 401k. We would have had billions of dollars to pay for people that are retired. The federal government ain't gonna do anything right. I mean, they're gonna take care of themselves. And so that's the reason that President Trump looked at the no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, all those things. We need to give it back to the people who actually do the work. And so, it's just unfortunate, but if you're getting taxed, you need to check on that, because unless you got another, if you got another job now, you're gonna get taxed.
No, what it is everything that you make, Social Security is taxed at 85% if you make up to about $40,000-$50,000 more, whether it's interest or whatever else, they're taxing your Social Security. And you're also taxing that money that you've made. Both of them, the Social Security is taxed up to 85% if you're making additional income.
Yeah, so 15% not, or 85%.
Right, they're taxing 85% of your Social Security.
Yeah. Again, you're talking to a football coach.
Yeah.
Well, I voted, so it would be taxed.
But like I say, they're taxing your Social Security.
Yeah.
And, like I say, if I made, $50,000 in Social Security and another $40,000 in, interest income, let's say, then they're taxing me on that 40,000 plus 85% of the, Social Security.
Yeah. What
I
they
know what y'all pay, it's helps
Yeah.
some, but you
Yeah.
still get taxed on.
tax a certain percent. What they're trying to do is trying to get to the point where if the only income you have is Social Security, that you don't get taxed. That's where we try to start. And maybe in the future, it will be brought down from the part of, no tax at all, no matter whether you're working somewhere else or not, or whether you got investment income coming in, maybe it'll work that way. I'm telling you, it was pulling teeth to get it to that point. I mean, these people ain't gonna vote for it. I mean, they love to spend your money. Another question? Yes?
Department of Education, there's been some talk about bringing it out of Washington, put it back to the state. What do you think about that?
Bringing, oh yeah, I'm 100%. We have what, 5,000 people in Washington DC that, work for the Department of Education. You know, for 5 years, they never came to the office, okay, but they got paid. So President Trump came in and Secretary McMahon came in, and that's over with. Free lunch is over. They're shipping them back to the states. If you want to go back into the state and work, but they're shipping the money and the power back to the states in education, which, you know, we're all different. I mean, we're going to teach our kids different here in Dothan. We're going to teach in Dallas, Texas, okay? It's a different culture, different lifestyle. And so we want to make sure that the money goes to the right spots. And when I become governor, that's going to be one of our main things. But again, when I become governor, we're going to revamp our education system. It ain't going to be nothing like we grew up in. And we're going to start teaching kids to read and write. And after that, you know, we'll do everything else. But at the end of the day, we want kids to learn to web. We have 500,000 electricians short in this country. AI is coming. Now, most of us in there ain't got a clue what AI is. It's a machine doing the work. It will replace people. But the good thing is people will go from that position working on AI to either working on that or going to another job working, using the same type of skills, making a good living at that. So again, we're going to get into workforce development where we can train people to use their hands in a profession. Nurses, we're so far short on nurses. It's just absolutely embarrassing that a country with this type of attitude and the system that we've had over the years, we just individually destroyed it. One thing is insurance. Friggin' insurance costs a fortune. Other thing is it takes away from the work ethic and on merit. You know, you got to base stuff on merit. You know, in DC, I go up there and everything's based on seniority. The longer I've been here, the more power I got. Well, bullcrap. I said, if I did that at Auburn when I was coaching, and I said, okay, you've been here 2 more years longer than this guy behind you, so you get to start. I don't pay. You pay the best. You play them, and why do you play them? You play them to win. We don't play to win in this country anymore. And we're afraid we're going to hurt somebody's feelings. The people that work hardest, are dedicated, are going to do things right, are the ones that should advance. And don't give me this crap about people, you know, just because you've been there longer and all that. I'm done with that. And we got to change that culture in this country. And there's a lot of people believing that. We just got to build on that more and more. If you own a business, I promise you're going to want the best people in your business or you're not going to survive. Question? Yes.
How are we gonna get everybody pulling in the right direction when you have states like California that do everything they can fight opposites.
That's a good question. And the president will tell you this, the only way we're ever gonna get people going in the same direction is the people that are crooks. They gotta be indicted, okay? There's a lot of people out there right now that for years didn't, hey, I can do what I want. The justice system is behind me. My political party is behind me. I can hide in the bushes if something happens. They never dreamed Trump would get elected. Never dreamed. And he's our only chance. I mean, he'll tell you, it's not about Republican or Democrat. It's about getting back to right and wrong in this country. And I've told him this, and I've told other people in the cabinet, you better indict somebody. We as Americans elected you and got this staff and got this cabinet to do the right thing. Got Cash Patel, FBI, Ratliff, the CIA director. We elected you to put their ass in jail. If you broke the law, and folks, we have got a lot of people that broke the law. And we got to get back to where people trust government, heaven forbid, but we got to get back where you actually believe that they're working for you, your tax money is going in the right direction. So to do that, we've got to get back to where people believe and trust, our country again. There's not a lot of trust out there. And I don't blame you. I wouldn't trust the federal government. I wouldn't trust anybody that dealt with your money, because look at where we're at. We should be so far ahead of everybody else. It makes you sick at your stomach. So, we have another question, or I'll get off. I'll quit preaching. Hey, yeah, real quick.
Coach, I appreciate your truth. I appreciate all you said. I agree with all of it. But I feel like I got this heavy cloud on my head. And I wish that you would just help me today and remind me of your record against the University of Alabama. Be quiet, I didn't speak.
Well, we had some good times. The only way I got elected when I went around and told people that Alabama did. Coach, I like you, but why should I vote for you? I said, because it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have Nick Saban. I got the rest of them fired. But that's a great game. Folks, we have ruined college. We've ruined college sports like we've ruined everything else. It's about money and it's about greed. And it's not about education. It's not about learning how to work and learning to plan and get your time right. I wouldn't play for me. I couldn't coach nothing. I mean, you ask them to get up at 5 every day. You're going to go to breakfast with everybody else. You're going to work hard. You're going to go to study hall before class starts at 8 or 9 o'clock. I mean, all those things are going to happen. They can't do it now. Because what will happen? They will transfer. I'm not working that hard. I go somewhere else and make the same amount of money. So, the NIL has ruined it. We got to straighten it out. The one thing I've talked to the president about is we got to change the transfer portal. And if we change that where they can't transfer at the drop of a hat, you got to be penalized. What we used to do, if you left, fine, you can leave, but you got to sit out a year. And how many people are going to do that now? And how many people are going to pay somebody for sitting out? It's not going to happen. We got to get back to education. I'm looking forward to football season, but hey, you need a roster just to know who's on your team now. I mean, there's not a lot of Ronnie Browns and Carnell Williams that stayed 5 years, or Jason Campbell. I mean, you have no clue who's on the team. Have no clue. I'm gonna be at games at Auburn, Alabama, and Troy, and South Alabama, and I love watching. We have got to get back to some sense of reality, because we're losing what made this country so great. It was a disciplined, hard-nosed activity called sports. That was in our junior high, elementary school, high school, colleges. Now it's all about money. And that's what will bring you down quicker than anything. And I don't mind them making money. But if you can get up and leave and play for 5 different schools in 5 years, something's wrong. Something bad wrong. Thank you. God bless all of you. See you soon.
Right now, I think so. Appreciate Thank y'all very much. Great program today. Next week's program will be FBI history, brought to us by Wayne Plummer. Thank you to the guests and all those who helped today. Remember, we have a board meeting directly after this meeting on the Hill. As you came in today, and I'll remind you, we are in the middle of a supply drive for Girard Elementary School. We do have a drop area as you come in the door. If you have any questions, the supply list is on the table by the badges. Reach out to me if you have any questions. If you will, let's all stand and repeat the four-way test.
Is it true? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will it be beneficial for all concerned?
Thank you. Look forward to seeing everyone next week.